Hi, everyone. I'm waiting for our guests to join us, so just give us a minute. Hi,
Hi,
Lindsay. How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good. Let's see if we can get Kristen on here 1 minute. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're
Of
so
course.
excited to talk all things registry today.
Yes.
Hi
Perfect.
guys.
Kristen's here. Hi,
Hello.
Kristen. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to chat with both of you.
Me too. This is going to be fun.
Yes, so for everyone who's tuning in, this is a monthly series we're starting, Build Your Dream Registry with Nanit, and we're so excited to have Kristen with us and then Lindsay from Anya. So we're going to be discussing must-have registry items. We're all moms. I have an 8-month-old, or almost 8 months. She'll be 8 months next week. And then Kristen, Lindsay, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, of course. I can start. So yes, I'm a mom as well. People know me mostly on the internet for my boomer mom impersonations.
Which I
uh,
love.
yeah, yeah. So much so that people actually don't recognize me when I use my regular voice, but I am a regular person. And I am a mom to a baby named Cameron, baby boy. He is turning 1 on Wednesday.
So sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm Lindsay. I'm head of social at Anya, which is a postpartum product beauty and wellness brand. And I am also a mom. I have a 2-year-old daughter named Cecilia and a 3-week-old daughter named Malone. So I am very much in the thick of it.
How do you
So
look
very
so good? Three
Yeah.
weeks? Oh my
How is
gosh.
your hair done? Like,
Well, she's sleeping a lot right now, so she gives me a lot of time to myself, but from what I remember, that will change very soon.
yeah, I feel like they wake up, I don't know, at like 4 weeks and then like really start getting into their personality. And it's also fun.
Yeah, for
It is,
sure.
yeah, it's like I'm experiencing it all over again, and some things I remember, some things are completely new to me. So it's an adventure for sure.
Yes, it certainly is. Well, a couple of housekeeping items before we kind of jump in and talk about our must-have registry items, things that we wish we registered for but didn't. And Lindsay, I feel like you're going to have the best perspective from a mom of two, like what you registered for with your first and, what you're needing for your second. But we are running a giveaway during this live, so we encourage everyone to email social@nanit.com and include a link to your baby registry, and we'll be selecting one winner, and they'll be getting a Nanit, of course, some products from Anya, and then a mystery gift. So definitely email us a link to your registry throughout the live, and then we'll be in touch with the winner, I think later today. So yeah, let's kind of jump in, and I don't know, Kristen, if I can call on you to start. What were your 3 top registry items, like must-haves, as a mom?
Yeah, I actually wrote them down so I wouldn't forget.
Be prepared.
It was fun doing some reflecting on all of my must-haves, especially because now I'm like rounding out year 1 with him. So I wrote down a couple. So I'll give you my top 3. Of course, my number 1, and it's not just because this is a Nanit live, but the Nanit was by far my favorite item that I used. So Cameron was actually a preemie. He was born 8 weeks early.
Oh, wow.
And so that played a really big role in my postpartum journey. And having the Nanit when he came home from the hospital. So he spent 47 days in the NICU. And when he came home from the hospital, the Nanit was the only reason why I slept. Just having that reassurance with that breathing monitor was and has been just the best thing for me as a new mom. My second one that I put on my list is the baby carrier, just for baby wearing. I never thought I would be that mom, but I like lived and breathed by baby wearing. I used the baby Bjorn, but I know there's a ton of different ones.
Yeah.
I wore him every single day, especially during maternity leave. It was like the only reason why I could get anything done outside of just being a mom. And then my third that I have on my list is the Hatch sound machine.
Mm-hmm.
That has been, we still use it today. It's one of those things that we've used since day one, and he loves it and we love it. And I feel like it's played a big role in just him getting really good sleep at night, which has been nice.
I can hear my Hatch in the other room because my daughter's room is like right next to my office, and she's currently sleeping, and I can literally hear the Hatch through the walls.
Yeah, it's the best. It's amazing. I want one for myself too.
I know. I think we have like sound machines throughout the whole house, because I feel like then, you just like get used to it, and it's very calming.
It is very calming. I agree.
Oh. What about you, Lindsay?
My first daughter was a grunter. If you remember those newborn like dinosaur sounds that they make like up until 12 weeks, the Hatch was a huge lifesaver for putting my husband and I and the baby back to bed, since we room shared for the first several weeks of her life. So Hatch definitely should be on everybody's registry. The first time around, I loved the Bobby pillow, not only just for feeding, but also it was a great tool to practice tummy time. And you can start tummy time as early as the first day you bring the baby home from the hospital. So I loved the Boppy for several reasons. Also a great little area to put the baby if you have to get up for a second to use the bathroom, because that some of those moments are few and far in between. But I think this time around, I've noticed a huge shift in my registry from baby items to items that I needed for postpartum care. So I found that a lot of things that I registered for were things that I needed in the hospital, home from the hospital, just coming out of, my checkout. Those hospitals were so gross and like baggy, so having a robe to bring to the hospital with me was a bonus. And then just like considering myself and my own recovery, and things that I needed at home, like cold pads, nipple bombs, and things that would help me really feel like myself again, because those first few weeks your hormones are all crazy, and the baby's crying and you're crying and you don't know what's going on. So I found a lot of the things that I really enjoyed were things that would make me feel better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think my top three, so obviously I'm going to say Nanit, and this is a completely unbiased review, but for me personally, I think some of the things that I love most about Nanit are the things I didn't realize that I would need when I didn't have like before you have a baby, you don't realize like what the day-to-day is going to look like. And for me, one of my most favorite features is the sleep tracking. So just being able to know what time she fell asleep for her nap, what time she woke up this morning, how long she slept for her nap, because you think before you have a baby that you're like, oh yeah, I'll put my baby down and I'll know what time I put them to sleep. Trust me, you put them down and 5 minutes later you're like, what time is it? Like, what's going on? When did I change their diaper?
For sure.
So it is so nice to have something where you can just open the app and say, oh, okay, she fell asleep at 1:37. Now I know. Okay, great. She napped this, 3 hours today. Fingers crossed she sleeps tonight. So for me, that's been really helpful. And I totally echo your sentiment around the breathing, motion monitoring. It definitely, especially in those early days for me, I think all moms must do this, but I was like the worst, like going up to her and like putting my finger underneath her nose, or like just like hovering over her constantly to like make sure she was breathing. It's just so crazy to me, like how it's just, you have to do it. And so to have that extra layer of reassurance is so nice. And I didn't realize like how much it helped me, especially in the first couple of weeks postpartum.
I was the exact same way.
Yeah. A small item that I didn't realize I would need, and I actually purchased after my baby was born, is one of those like automatic nail filers for infants.
Oh, yep.
because trying to trim or file, well, you can't cut them at first, but trying to file a baby's and infant's nails is like extremely scary. I was crying. It was horrible. So then I just like Amazon primed one of those automatic nail filers. I don't know if you all have them, but
Yes.
we still use it to this day. It's lovely. I've used it for myself too. So
Mhm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
all around great product. And I also agree with the baby carrier. I feel like I didn't think I would use it a ton, but I use it. My husband uses it with her, and I feel like it really grows with you, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, and then Lindsay, I definitely agree. I feel like every new mom, especially when you're expecting, all you think about is the baby and what they'll need. And I feel like there's just a few things that they really do need in those first couple of weeks, but it's so easy to forget about yourself in that whole process. So yeah, thinking through like no matter what kind of delivery you end up having, just like having those essential items for you ready when you come home from the hospital really helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree. And it's so easy to forget about yourself too.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Were there any items that I know I mentioned one that I didn't register for that I wish I did, but anything that you noticed that you're like, oh gosh, I need to have this, I've got to overnight it, that you would recommend uh, new parents or expecting parents to put on their baby registry?
For me, because, the first time around, second time, I can see what worked, what didn't work. I regretted not getting a Dopitot,
Mm.
just because I was like, this is so expensive for a pillow. I'm not sure of the hype. And then we got one for my second, and it's been like the best thing to just lay her down. She's snug and so comfortable, and I can move her house with me. So that's definitely one item. Or I think there's another brand called Snuggle Me, which is a little
Mm-hmm.
that's a little bit more affordable, but the Dot was a lifesaver for the first few weeks. Um,
Yeah, I second that too. And that's one of those ones where you're like, should I spend this much money on a pillow? Like, is it really going to be that helpful? And it ends up being unbelievably helpful.
yeah.
Yeah, we loved ours. For me, I think one thing that I ended up overnighting, or a couple things, and you guys already touched on this, was just like the breastfeeding essentials pack. That was just something that I wasn't ready for. So like the nipple balm, the ice packs, just all of the things that you need. And this goes back to like taking care of yourself, because those first couple of weeks, especially breastfeeding, if you guys plan on, if anyone in the live plans on breastfeeding, it can be very painful, and it's such a huge transition. So those are all the things that I remember being up at like 2 a.m. ordering on Amazon. Late night orders.
Oh my gosh, the shopping, I feel like, at least for the first month and a half of my daughter's life, I would order packages in the middle of the night when I was feeding her, and you're like, half awake, you're delirious. And then, packages would just be showing up at my doorstep. And I'd always be like, oh my gosh, someone sent us a gift. Then I would
Yeah.
open it. I was like, oh, I sent myself a gift.
Those are the best.
Yeah. Are there any items that you registered for that maybe you didn't end up using as much?
One of mine was the I don't know like the word for it, but it was like the like butt wand, the thing that you like can
Oh,
use.
like the spatula. It's like a
The
spatula.
spatula, yes, yeah. Like I got a couple of those thinking that I would use those every time, like as if I wasn't like I was like grossed out by just using my fingers, but like I literally never touched them once. I'm like, why would I add like it's just one more thing that I'd have to clean. I don't need this.
Right. You definitely don't need that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. It's funny
Yeah.
because I feel like I'd seen a lot of people talk about those and say how helpful they were. So I had like, had it like on my Amazon list, but I never ended up purchasing it. And then I realized I was like, I probably wouldn't have used this too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, mine's going to be an unpopular opinion, I think, but bear with me here. And I think it's the first thing that everybody adds to their registry. It's Sophie, the giraffe.
We don't have one. We don't have
You
one.
don't, okay.
No.
I don't feel so bad saying this.
Yeah.
We registered for Sophie, and there were so many better teething toys
Mm-hmm.
on the market that our daughter tended to love more. And You know, with Sophie, like so much spit gets caught the inside of the teething toy, and it's expensive. So second time around, didn't bother adding that, and personally would never gift that to anyone, although she's so cute. There are just so many better teething options out there for newborns and babies who are going through um, teeth coming in and a lot of spit up.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I actually have heard that about the Sophie toy, which is unfortunate because I know it's so popular.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one mistake I made is I definitely, and we didn't find out the gender, which was my way of saying, like, you're not going to buy too many clothes if you don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I still bought like gender neutral clothes. And I feel like for the first, I mean, at least for me, the first 3 months of my daughter's life, she was just in like the onesie pajamas, you know, like the zip ups. That's pretty much all she wore. And you really don't need that many outfits outside of that. And I know it's so fun to buy it, but for me, like there were so many things that I just packed up a bunch of her clothes that she grew out of. And I'm like, gosh, she maybe wore this once. Like, and I feel like I put her in it out of guilt, being like, oh gosh, you're going to grow out. Like, I have to put
Yeah.
you in it.
Yeah. I'm totally guilty of that too. I was going to mention that I think newborn and 0 to 3, especially, they grow out of those so fast. And that was one thing that I would panic bulk order. I would just get all of these PJs, all of these clothes, and then end up not even putting it on him one time or maybe once. And that was it.
Right. And then you feel bad, but I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll pack this away. I can always do hand-me-downs to friends, or if we have other, you know, another baby, then we can hopefully reuse it.
Yeah.
But I did find like zipper pajamas are great, especially when they're really young, because they're in and out all day. And then also a ton of bibs. I definitely had to order more of like just like the muslin bibs.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that way you don't have to change their outfit, you know, 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Save yourself from laundry.
Yeah, and we're still in our bib era over here. Like, I feel like that's something that they don't grow out of, or they do eventually, but he's 1 and he's teething big time and he needs bibs. So that's something that it's worth the money. They don't grow out of it. You can get like a bunch of different bibs in bulk and then just keep them around.
Yeah, and they're cute on them. They come out with all patterns now if you want to dress up one of their onesies and make it look stylish.
It's very true.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and I feel like with the bibs, like you said, they don't grow out of them because it's like, okay, they're messy eaters, and then they start teething and they're just like drooling everywhere. My daughter's teething, right? I feel like they're just teething. I don't know about you guys. Are they just teething for the first like 2 years of their life?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't end.
Just nonstop drool.
Yeah, lots of drool.
Yeah.
Well, any other parting advice? I know we've been chatting for almost 20 minutes now, but anything else you want to share for expecting parents or new parents?
Yeah, I mean, I would say parting advice just for any new moms or new parents. The biggest thing is just, I think it's easier said than done, but focusing on yourself is so important. Like, I know it's easy to get so obsessed with the baby and always focusing on the baby, but this is such a huge life transition for you as a mom and as a parent. So happy baby, happy mom. You can't, like, it's easy to overlook that. So focus on yourself and do all the things that you can in terms of self-care.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. And just take time to do the research and figure out, you know, what your body needs. You just grew a human for 9 months, and your body's depleted of nutrients and it's running with hormones. So understanding what your body needs, both mentally and physically, is so important. And like you said, Kristen, happy baby, happy mommy, so important. You can't be there for your baby if you're not there for yourself. So totally echo that sentiment, and how important it is to make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also think it's hard not to do this, but try not to compare. Like, I think what works for you and your baby, it might be different than what you see on social media or with one of your friends. And that's totally fine. I think it's so easy to like spiral and think, oh gosh, like my baby's not doing that yet. Or I don't, like, that's not how I put my baby to bed. Am I doing something wrong? But your like motherly intuition, I feel like is so real. So just follow your gut instinct. Like it's crazy how fast that kicks in. So if you're taking care of yourself and listening to yourself, I think it really helps with the entire transition. And it's just an ever evolving process. I mean, really, I feel like even 8 months in at this point, like still learning. I'll be learning for the rest of my life with her, which is fun. But
Yeah.
Don't believe everything that Google tells you, especially when you're looking at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm
yeah,
guilty
like,
of that.
I'm the worst. I'm like, yeah, I Google everything like constantly, not just about baby stuff, just about everything. I'm like, oh, I just want to know. I'm so curious. But like with baby stuff, it can definitely be a little scary. And it's just, I don't think it's the best for my own mental health to go down the Google rabbit hole. So I try not to do that.
Yeah. I need to do better at that for sure. It's amazing advice.
Text a friend. It's always good to find like a couple like friends or like some communities that you can join, and you can really rely on the people there to give you like sound advice and not kind of like encourage any like spiraling of little things. And also call your pediatrician. That's always good too.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like on that note too, I think having a community of other moms is so important. So if you don't have friends who are in a similar life stage, joining mom groups, finding other people who are also new moms and new parents is just, it's so incredibly valuable. And especially in those first couple of weeks, couple of months.
Yes. And then I feel like you teed this up for me perfectly. We have the Nanit community, which is open to everyone, not just Nanit parents. And we're actually hosting an expert event this week in partnership with Anya, with one of their expert dietitians and a member of Nanit Lab, Dr. Liza Natali, on postpartum and that journey. So we definitely invite everyone to join in on that discussion, and you can ask our experts any questions that you have. So if you want to join in on the community, it is just community.nanit.com. So we hope to see you all there. And this was such a lovely discussion. I feel like I learned so much, and I hope everyone who joined in got a little tidbit that they can take back with them and help them build out their registry.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Yeah. Thank you. This was super fun.
Yeah. All right. Chat with you guys later.
All right. Bye guys.
Bye.